Welcome back. Today's topic is Cloud Adoption Framework, CAF, and the 7 rupees of migration. And honestly, this is one of my favorites in the whole Amazon Web Services, the Amazon Web Services Certified Cloud Practitioner Exam Mastery. Here's why. A company lifts and shifts 400 virtual machines to Amazon Web Services. 18 months later, their cloud bill is double their old data center cost, and nobody can explain why. The miss? Nobody asked which of the 7 migration strategies actually fit each workload. By the end of this video, you'll know which of the 7 strategies fits a given workload, and which cloud adoption framework perspective owns the work happening around it. In a previous video, we walked through the well-architected framework, the 6 pillars you use to judge whether a workload is built right. Today we shift gears. Instead of judging an existing architecture, we're asking a different question. How does an on-prem workload actually get to Amazon Web Services in the first place? 5 terms before we dig in. Cloud Adoption Framework, or CAF, is Amazon Web Services guidance for organizing the work that surrounds a migration. A CAF perspective is one of 6 capability areas inside that framework. The 7 rupees are the 7 technical paths a workload can take to the cloud. Amazon Web Services Application Migration Service, recently rebranded as Amazon Web Services Transform MGN, is the service that automates one of those paths. And VMware Cloud on Amazon Web Services is the destination for a very specific kind of move we'll get to later. One quick note on that last one. As of April 30th, 2024, VMware Cloud on Amazon Web Services is sold exclusively through Broadcom, not Amazon Web Services directly. Amazon Web Services has since introduced Amazon Elastic VMware Service, or EVS, as the fully native alternative, now generally available in multiple regions. Picture a code gorillas client walking in and saying, "We have an on-prem monolith. How do we move it to Amazon Web Services?" There are 2 tempting wrong answers. The first is, just lift and shift everything. Practitioners who do that report cloud bills running 10 to 100% higher than on-prem within 18 months, because nothing got right-sized. The second wrong answer is, let's rewrite it cloud native. That sounds disciplined, but it can mean months of redesign before a single workload actually moves. The real answer is, it depends on the workload, it depends on the constraint, and it depends on which capability is currently blocking the program. Amazon Web Services gives you 2 frameworks here, and they do different jobs. The Cloud Adoption Framework covers the work surrounding migration, business, people, governance, operations. It answers the question, are we organizationally ready to migrate? The 7 rupees are the technical paths. They answer a different question. How does this specific application move? You don't pick one of the 2 frameworks. You use both. CAF tells you whether the program can succeed. The 7 rupees tell you what each workload actually does. Here's the simplest way to think about CAF. It is a checklist for the work nobody puts on the migration plan until it's too late. Migrations don't usually stall on technology. They stall because nobody trained the operations team, or nobody wrote the governance policy, or nobody updated the procurement process. CAF surfaces those capability gaps early, while they're cheap to fix, instead of later, when they show up as budget overruns and missed deadlines. Think of CAF as 6 departments planning an office move. Business decides why we're moving and what success looks like, the strategy. People retrain staff for the new building, that's training and culture. Governance writes the rules for who gets which keycard, that's policy and oversight. Platform builds the desks, the network, the AV, the actual infrastructure work. Security installs the locks and cameras, the controls, and operations keeps the lights on after move-in day. 6 abstract perspectives, 6 concrete roles you've seen in any real-world change. Memorize the 6 perspectives as 2 groups of 3. On the left, the people and program side, business, people, governance. Business cares about return on investment and outcomes. People owns training and culture. Governance handles policies and portfolio oversight. On the right, the technology side. Platform, security, operations. Platform builds the infrastructure, the data architecture, the deployment pipelines. Security covers identity, encryption, incident response, and operations runs day 2, the observability and the service levels after the migration is done. 2 groups of 3, that's the whole framework. The reason people in business get confused is that both involve humans. The difference is the kind of work. Business is about outcomes and value, revenue, customers, market position. People is about capability and growth, training, skills, hiring, culture, change management. Anytime the work is making someone better at their job, that's people. Amazon Web Services' own People Perspective white paper frames it as a bridge between technology and business, accelerating the move toward a culture of continuous growth and learning. Bridge, culture, learning, that's the key word set. Here's why that phrase, change becomes business as normal, is doing so much work. In practice, culture change is the hardest part of any migration. You can provision an account in minutes, but rewiring how teams think about ownership, on-call, and continuous delivery takes quarters, sometimes years. Compare the language too. People sounds like learning, growth, capability. Business sounds like revenue, customer outcomes, market position. Once you hear that contrast, the next comparison gets a lot easier. Business and people both involve humans, so it helps to anchor each one to its real focus. Business is about digital transformation outcomes, return on investment, and value. Amazon Web Services documents the owners as the full C-suite: CEO, CFO, COO, CIO, CIO, CMO, CPO, and CTO. The keywords are outcomes, value, strategy. People is about the workforce. The keywords are skills, training, and culture. That covers culture and organizational structure, hiring and change management, and training and upskilling. The decision rule is simple. If the requirement mentions return on investment or business value, choose business. If it mentions skills, training, or culture, choose people. That distinction matters on scenario questions where both feel plausible. The other easy mix-up is governance versus security. Governance is oversight of the program, the policies, the portfolio management, the rules and who enforces them. Security is the controls themselves, identity and access management, encryption, threat detection. The clearest way to keep them straight: governance protects the program, security protects the workloads. If the scenario is about writing a policy, that's governance. If it's about implementing the control that enforces the policy, that's security. It's easy to confuse CAF perspectives with well-architected pillars, because both are Amazon Web Services frameworks for evaluating cloud readiness. The difference is what they evaluate. Well-architected judges how a workload is built, its reliability, its performance, its sustainability. CAF judges whether the organization is ready to migrate at all. Reliability is a pillar. It describes a property of a workload. People is a perspective. It describes a capability gap in an organization. Same vendor, 2 different lenses, applied at 2 different levels. CAF runs in 4 phases. First, Envision, identify and prioritize the transformation opportunities. What are we actually trying to achieve? Second, Align, go through the 6 perspectives and surface the capability gaps. Where are we weak? Third, Launch, deliver pilots in production, real workloads, real users, but scoped. And fourth, Scale, expand those pilots into broader adoption and sustain the business value. The order matters: Envision, Align, Launch, Scale. Pilots happen in launch, not Envision. Here's how this works in practice. Take the people perspective and walk it across all 4 phases. In Envision, You assess current skills and identify the gaps. In a lean, you build the training and hiring plan to close those gaps. In launch, you stand up the pilot migration team, the actual humans doing the actual work. And in scale, you roll enablement out to the broader organization. Every perspective contributes to every phase. The work just changes shape as you move along the timeline. Okay, that's the surrounding work. Now to the technical paths. CAF tells you whether the organization is ready to move. The 7 rupees tell you, for each individual workload, how it actually gets there. And in a real portfolio, you'll use multiple Rs, not one strategy for everything. One mental model covers all 7. Think about moving house. Rehost is renting a truck and moving every box exactly as it is. Replatform keeps the same furniture but swaps the old fridge for one that fits the new kitchen. Repurchase is selling everything and moving into a furnished place. Refactor is hiring an architect to redesign the floor plan from scratch. Retire is throwing out the broken stuff in the garage. Retain is leaving the piano at your parents' house for now. And Relocate is hitching the whole trailer to a truck and parking it on a new lot. 7 options, 1 analogy. Immediate intuition for the effort each one takes. Stacked by effort, the picture looks like this. Retire and retain take almost no effort. You're either throwing the workload out or leaving it alone. Relocate is also low effort because nothing inside the workload changes. Rehost and repurchase sit in the middle. Replatform takes more work, and Refactor sits at the top, the most effort, and also the most long-term payoff. The shape matters. Cheap migrations are usually small payoffs. Big payoffs cost real engineering time. Start with Rehost, the classic lift and shift. You take virtual machines from on-prem or another cloud and move them onto EC2, Amazon Web Services' virtual server service, with no code changes and no architecture changes. It's the fastest path. When the question's qualifier is speed, or there's a data center exit deadline, Rehost is your default. The service that automates this is Amazon Web Services Application Migration Service, recently rebranded as Amazon Web Services Transform MGN. Same replication engine, same compliance posture, same exam answer, treat both names as one. Under the hood, it does continuous block-level replication from your source servers. Then at cutover it launches them as native EC2 instances in minutes. Amazon Web Services prescriptive guidance ties this together explicitly. Rehost means moving an application to the cloud without making any changes to the application, and Application Migration Service automates the Rehost migration strategy. That mapping, automated lift and shift, equals Application Migration Service or Amazon Web Services Transform MGN, is worth committing to memory exactly as stated. Replatform is lift and reshape. You're still moving the workload as it is, but you make small, contained optimizations along the way. The classic example: an on-prem Oracle database becomes Amazon RDS for Oracle. Same database engine, application code stays the same, but now Amazon Web Services handles the patching, the backups, and the high availability setup. The application doesn't even know it moved. This is the sweet spot for a lot of workloads. You get the cloud-native operational benefits without paying for a full rewrite. Repurchase is drop and shop. You replace the application entirely, usually with a software-as-a-service product. The textbook example: retire your on-prem customer relationship management system, subscribe to Salesforce, migrate the customer data over, and you're done. You're out of the customer relationship management business as software. You just use it. One important distinction: if you're keeping the same product but moving to a managed version, like self-managed PostgreSQL going to RDS PostgreSQL, that's replatform, not repurchase. Repurchase means you changed products. Refactor is re-architecting for the cloud. You break the monolith into microservices, You adopt containers or serverless functions. You might change the data stores entirely. It's the highest effort and the highest cost of any of the 7. But it's also the highest long-term benefit because every component can scale independently and use the right managed service. Code Gorillas only picks Refactor for strategic workloads, the apps where rehosting would just carry over the same bottlenecks the business is trying to escape. For everything else, Amazon Web Services has a clear recommendation, and it's worth hearing in their own words. Amazon Web Services prescriptive guidance is explicit. Refactor is not recommended for large migrations because it bundles modernization into the migration itself. The recommended sequence is to rehost, relocate, or replatform first, and then modernize once the workload is already in the cloud. 2 phases, not 1. So if a scenario asks for the best initial strategy on a large portfolio, and Refactor is one of the options, it's almost always wrong. The last 3 strategies: retire, retain, and relocate. Retire means decommissioning applications that nobody actually uses anymore. Amazon Web Services prescriptive guidance says it's not unusual to find more than 10% of a portfolio can simply be turned off. Pure savings. Retain means keeping the workload where it is, usually because of compliance requirements or recent hardware investment that hasn't depreciated yet. Retain is not never. It's not yet. You revisit retained workloads later. Relocate, most commonly, refers to VMware vSphere virtual machines moving to VMware Cloud on Amazon Web Services using a tool called VMware HCX. But Amazon Web Services also applies the Relocate label to moving resources between VPCs, regions, or accounts without changing the platform. For example, relocating an RDS database to a different VPC. No operating system conversion, no application changes, it's a platform-preserving move. The cleanest way to remember Relocate. Rehost is unpacking the contents of a mobile home and rebuilding them inside a new house. That's the operating system conversion to EC2. Relocate is hitching the trailer to a truck and parking it on a new lot. Same trailer, same contents, just a different location. That's why Relocate only applies to VMware workloads going to VMware Cloud on Amazon Web Services. The entire VMware environment travels intact. Quick midpoint check, but with a shift. Everything so far has been the surrounding work, the 6 perspectives, the 4 phases, the program-level readiness questions. That's all organization level. Everything from here is about individual workloads. Same migration, totally different lens. And here's the question that drives the second half. When 2 strategies both look right on paper, say, Replatform and Refactor both fit, how do you actually choose between them? That's what the qualifier rule at the end is going to give you. 3 deployment models you should recognize. All in cloud means everything runs in Amazon Web Services regions, typical for greenfield applications and cloud-native organizations. Hybrid mixes on-prem with Amazon Web Services, connected by services like Direct Connect for a dedicated private link, storage gateway for on-prem storage that caches to S3, or Outposts, which is actual Amazon Web Services hardware shipped to your data center. We covered Outposts back in episode 3. And then there's pure on-premises or private cloud, your own data center, usually for compliance, latency, or data residency reasons. Remember, the 7 rupees describe how a workload moved. The deployment model describes where it lives. Here's where these 2 frameworks click together. Take the same Nexa retail portfolio. When their CRM moves to Salesforce via Repurchase, where does it land? Software as a service. They consume software. They don't run any infrastructure. When their Oracle database replatforms to RDS, that's platform as a service. Amazon Web Services manages the runtime. They still own the schema. When a legacy VM rehosts to EC2, that's infrastructure as a service, they still manage the operating system. And when an order processing service gets refactored into Lambda functions, that's function as a service, fully event-driven. no servers to think about. Same portfolio, same 7 Rs, 4 different destination layers. As you move from infrastructure as a service towards software as a service, your control decreases and abstraction increases. You manage less. Amazon Web Services or the vendor manages more. For illustration, picture a portfolio that splits roughly like this. Imagine about half the workloads going Rehost, fast, predictable, gets the data center empty. A quarter become Replatform, small reshaping for managed service benefits. A smaller slice gets the Refactor treatment, and those are the strategic workloads. Amazon Web Services prescriptive guidance does note one real number here. It's common to find more than 10% of a portfolio can be retired outright during assessment, which is essentially free savings, and a remaining sliver is split across retain, repurchase, and relocate. The point isn't the exact percentages, those vary widely by company. It's that any real migration uses several strategies in parallel, not one strategy for everything. Here's the decision rule that turns shaky guesses into confident answers. When 2 migration strategies are both technically valid, the qualifier word in the question picks the winner. Cost sensitive, speed sensitive, or compliance sensitive. Read the qualifier first, then choose. Here's the cheat sheet, mapped to specific qualifier phrases. Fastest, or a data center exit deadline, means rehost or relocate if the workload is VMware. Replace with software as a service means repurchase. A managed version of the same product means replatform. Compliance keeps it on-prem means retain. No longer used means retire. VMware vSphere with no operating system changes means relocate. And long-term cloud native, willing to invest the engineering time, means refactor. The qualifier is doing the work. Find it in the stem, then the answer follows. 5 things to walk away with. The 6 CAF perspectives split into 2 groups: business, people, governance on the program side, and platform, security, operations on the technology side. Anything about training, skills, culture, or organizational change goes to people. That's the most commonly missed mapping. The 4 CAF phases run Envision, Align, Launch, Scale, and pilots happen in Launch, never Envision. Memorize the 7 Rs and remember that Amazon Web Services Application Migration Service, now called Amazon Web Services Transform MGN, is the service that automates Rehost. And when 2 migration strategies both look right, find the qualifier, cost, speed, or compliance, and let it pick the winner. Now let's see how well that all stuck with a quick 5-question quiz. Question 1. A retail company is finalizing its cloud migration plan and asks code gorillas to identify which cloud adoption framework perspective owns the work of upskilling its operations staff and managing the cultural shift to cloud ways of working. Is it A, the people perspective, B, the business perspective, C, the operations perspective, or D, the governance perspective? Lock in your answer before I give it away. The answer is A, the people perspective. Training, upskilling, and culture change all live under people. Operations is tempting because the staff in question are operations staff, but the perspective is defined by the work, not the job title, and the work here is human development. Question 2. A logistics company must vacate its primary data center in 8 months. The portfolio is mostly Windows and Linux virtual machines running standard applications, and there is no time for redesign. Which migration strategy and service combination best fits this constraint? A. Refactor the applications onto Amazon Web Services Lambda. B. Repurchase the applications as software as a service subscriptions. C. Retain the workloads on premises and renew the data center lease. Or D. Rehost the virtual machines using Amazon Web Services Application Migration Service. Pause here if you want more time. The right call here is D. The qualifier is speed, 8 months and no time for redesign. Rehost is the fastest path, and Amazon Web Services Application Migration Service, now called Amazon Web Services Transform (MGN), is the service that automates it. Refactor would take longer than the deadline. Repurchase changes products, which isn't what the scenario asked for, and Retain doesn't satisfy the data center exit. Question 3. A financial services firm runs thousands of workloads on VMware vSphere on premises. It wants to move them to Amazon Web Services as quickly as possible, with no operating system changes, no application code changes, and minimal retraining of the existing VMware operations team. Which migration strategy fits? Is it A. Rehost using Amazon Web Services Application Migration Service, B. Relocate to VMware Cloud on Amazon Web Services using VMware HCX, C. Replatform onto EC2 with managed services, or D. Refactor into containers running on Amazon ECS. Think about which constraint matters most here. It has to be B, and here's why. The combination of VMware vSphere, no operating system changes, and an existing VMware Ops team points to exactly one strategy: relocate, using VMware HCX to land on VMware Cloud on Amazon Web Services. Rehost would convert the operating systems to native EC2 instances, which contradicts the no OS change requirement. Question 4. During migration planning, Code Gorillas discovers that 15% of a client's application portfolio has had no active users for over 12 months and provides no business value. What is the most appropriate migration strategy for these applications? A. Retain them on premises for compliance reasons. B. Retire them. C. Rehost them to EC2 to preserve them in case they are needed later. Or D. Repurchase replacements from the Amazon Web Services marketplace. Got your pick? Let's see. If you said B, well done. No active users and no business value is the clean cue for retire. Retain implies a reason to keep the workload running, like compliance or a recent investment. Rehosting workloads nobody uses just moves the waste to a new bill, and repurchase only makes sense if you actually need the applications function, which here, you don't. Question 5. A Code Gorillas client has a legacy ERP system that they no longer use for daily operations, but compliance regulations require them to keep it accessible for 2 more years before they can decommission it. Which migration strategy is the right fit? A. Retire. The system is no longer used. B. Rehost. Lift and shift to EC2 for the compliance window. C. Retain. Keep it where it is for now. Or D. Refactor. Modernize it during the compliance hold. Think about which constraint matters most here. It has to be C, and here's why. Retain is the right answer when a system needs to stay accessible but isn't worth migrating, usually because of compliance, a contract, or a technical block, with a known end date. Retire is wrong because compliance forbids decommissioning yet. Rehost and Refactor both spend real migration effort on a workload you're about to throw away in 2 years. Retain says, leave it alone, revisit when the constraint lifts. That's the whole story on Cloud Adoption Framework, CAF, and the 7 rupees of migration. If one diagram stuck with you, share it with a teammate who's also studying. See you in the next one.